What's going on, folks? PokeDegen here. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 alternate arts to get under $20 right now. Now I am pretty limited on this list because there isn't many alternate arts under that $20 price point. I do think there's still some really good options out there. First up, we have the Insect V alternate art from Fusion Strike. A nice little legendary Pokemon. Hits very hard in the games. That's one reason that I like it. It's a legendary, hits very hard, and you can still pick up this card at around $20, $21, $22. So when we're talking about a price point to enter in for a legendary Pokemon and have an alternate artwork of them, not a bad buy point entry. And if we look here, we can see we have a year's worth of data of a strong support at $20, okay? So you can still pick up this alternate artwork of a legendary Pokemon at the all-time low, and you have about a year's worth of data plus supporting you at that $20 support line, $21 support line. So very little risk, and you can open yourself up to take all that massive appreciation since we haven't really seen any appreciation on this card. So a nice little play right here to preserve capital and also open yourself up to take that appreciation down the line. Appreciate content like this, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Another card that I mentioned before, the Hunch Crow V alternate art from Brilliant Stars. There's tons of listings right now, 137, but guys, when we're talking about picking up a beautiful alternate art, a recognized Pokemon, a bunch of little Murkrows, just a very beautiful card in person, and you can still pick this card up at $11, $12, $13, okay? So the reason I love this play so much is because you can take very little risk because you're buying at a buy point that basically has 18 months of a support around that $11 to $12, $13. So like I said, basically the same thing with the Genesect card, okay? You can basically buy in an alternate art at an all-time low that has a year's worth of support and open yourself up to take massive appreciation while preserving your capital with a little risk, okay? So I love these plays for someone just trying to build up their little bankroll while also preserving their money, because that's also another important step, okay? Of course, you're trying to make money, but at the same time, you're also trying to keep your money, which is something that a lot of people don't think about, is preserving their capital, and the only thing about multiplying it. Lissy V alternate art from Chilling Reign. Now, folks, this isn't exactly $20. You're going to be picking up this card at $23, $24. But I do love this play. We have an iconic Pokemon, Blissey. Not the most popular Pokemon in the world, but Blissey carries her way, okay? Blissey is well known throughout the TCG, so when we're talking about choosing a Pokemon to invest in, Blissey is not a bad choice. The fact that there's also only 48 listings is also a huge factor, because in reality there's only 37 near mint copies, and that's very low when we're talking about a modern alternate art, okay? When we're talking 3 to 5 years down the line, that scarcity aspect of a card, along with other factors, is what really draws in the premium down the line. Because when there's 100 cards, there's no way a card can be $300, okay? The math just does not make sense. There's that much quantity available, people are just not going to pay that premium, okay? But when we start getting on a 20 to 30 to 40 cards, on a card can just start to go wild, okay? For example, we saw that with the Blaziken from Chilling Reign, okay? There's less than 10 near mint copies. We saw it go from 90, it basically doubled to 180, and now it's blasting off to 250, and there's only 4 listings, so theoretically, I mean, those people could charge $400 or $500, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that as a possibility for that Blaziken. And we're not going to see something like that, for example, for this Blissey, okay? We're not talking about the artwork of that magnitude, but on the lower scale, when we are talking about sub 40 listings, sub 40 near mint copies, we can really start to see a nice premium, especially when you're able to still pick it up at that all-time low right now. If we scroll down here, we can see the all-time low is around $22, okay? So you can still pick this card up within 1 to 3% of its all-time low, and the listings are getting insanely low. You're probably going to pay $23 to $24. Best case scenario, maybe 21 to 22 if you can find like a listing on eBay and snatch it up quick. But guys, look at this chart, okay? I love plays like this where you have a year's worth of support, essentially, even longer, coming up on 18 months of support at that $22, $23 range, okay? So you can essentially pick up a great Pokemon, great artwork, diminishing quantity at an all-time low price, still even 12 to 18 months after this card has had time to settle, okay? Which is, of course, in my opinion, a great play with a lot of sales backing you up. So you're managing the risk well, taking on that appreciation, that 2, 3, 4x's, because you're buying at an all-time low, okay? And that's really where you see the gains, all right? You're not going to buy in at a Moon Brown at 400 and double up, triple up, okay? I mean, it could happen, but way less likely than a $20 alternate art card with a good Pokemon at an all-time low that still has its appreciation again, okay? Next up, we have the Rapid Strike Urshifu V alternate art from Battle Styles. I know this is probably going to be a really unpopular pick, but it has the same thing going for it, kind of like the Honchkrow play, okay? In fact, this is a legendary Pokemon. I know a really new legendary Pokemon and not one that was necessarily greatly received by the community, but you can still pick this card up at 11, 12, 13, $14, okay? Still an alternate art legendary Pokemon that you can still pick up at a very low price range. We have beyond a year's worth of data of this card, and we're essentially sitting at the all-time low. We're within 5 to 10% of the all-time low that you can still pick this card up at. And the same thing, like I said before, the same thing I like with this Honchkrow play, okay? The main difference between this and the Honchkrow play, this has about 80 less listings. Yes, that's correct, 80 less listings. So way less quantity on this Urshifu play. We can see right here only 65 listings. And for a modern set, guys, that's starting to get really low, okay? Next thing you know, somebody could just buy these up and it could go down to 40, 30 instantly, okay? So very low quantity on these. So when we're talking about quantity going rapidly down, that's a plus if you're looking to hold on to something and get the appreciation. And you can still pick it up at an all-time low. Plus, we have a legendary artwork, a legendary alternate art artwork. First glance, first impression, I just don't like it. But like I said, when we're looking for value in the market and trying to build up our bankroll, this is a nice play to take in right here. Lastly, we have this Ice Rider Calyrex alternate art from Chilling Rain. You can pick this card up right now for around $18, $19. On eBay, maybe you can get a little bit luckier, maybe that sneak in a little $16, $17 action. But when we're talking about legendary Pokemon, beautiful artwork and alternate art, in my opinion, just not a bad price, okay? Chilling Rain has been out for a while now, over a year, definitely over a year. This card has the same things going for it, similar to the ones I mentioned before. We can see the quantity of listings is at 75, which is a good amount of listings, but it's starting to trickle down. That's not a massive amount of listings for a modern Pokemon alternate art. That's actually, in my opinion, kind of getting low. It's not low, but it's heading towards that low area of around 40 to 50, okay, where we really want to start paying attention to it. Additionally, if we scroll down here to the graph, we can see we have about a year's plus worth of data showing that $19 to $20 is the all-time low of this card, okay? So essentially 12 to 18 months after release, after this card has had time to consolidate, you can still pick this card up essentially at its all-time low, okay? So we're talking about, again, an alternate art, a legendary Pokemon, one that hits very hard, so I think that kids would like to use it in the game. Things of that nature. Not really sure about the TCG, but so yeah, just picking up an alternate art at the all-time low. As we see the quantity of listings start to diminish, all factors are just pointing towards a buy, in my opinion. Not financial advice, of course, but especially considering that you can still get it at an all-time low. So you're still insulating your capital, but you're also opening yourself up to take that appreciation down the line because this card hasn't appreciated yet like the rest on the list. They're essentially at all-time lows, so that's why I love them so much, guys. You're just taking on very little risk, but you're protecting your capital and allowing your capital to have that potential to triple, to quadruple when we're talking about these $15 to $20 price points. I know, not the most exciting cards in the world. I try to include only cards at an all-time low and have a scarcity aspect. And if they didn't have that scarcity aspect, they were at an all-time low. So I think some really good plays in here for managing risk and exposing yourself to the upside down the line. Some of these cards, for example, like the Blissey, may have a way shorter time to gaining that premium than the others because they're sub 40 near mint copies of that Blissey card. So thanks for watching, folks. Have a good weekend and take care.